Hello, good evening. Welcome to today's session with Spectrum, the Awareness Project and Power of Storytelling with Story Auntie Nina. So, why we have scheduled our storytelling today evening? Because our storyteller is not from India, she is from Chicago. So, let me introduce our storyteller for today who's going to tell a story. Yes, alphabet F. So let's hear from her. Before that, Meghali Majumdar is the author of book The Girl Who Flaps Her Hands, which is an emotional tales of her struggles with motherhood combined with positive life lessons for parents of special need kids. She is also a storyteller, and her stories are all about kindness, generosity, and delicate relationships. She is a neurodivergent advocate and works extensively to remove the stigma associated with special needs families. She lives in Illinois, USA, with her husband Praveen and two beautiful kids, Ishanvi and Viva. So, welcome, Meghali. And as last time, this time also, we are all eagerly waiting to hear the life story that you're going to share with us. So, what do you call? Let's begin.
Hi, Nina. Good evening to all the viewers, and good morning here. It's a very, very chilly morning, minus 26 degrees, that I was telling Nina earlier. But yeah, let's begin. So, as Nina said in my introduction, I am a mother of two kids, right? My daughter is 8 and my son is 5. The other day, my daughter asked me a very interesting question. Right? She said, "Mom, why do you help him with his homework but I have to do it myself?" She was, of course, referring to her brother, and she said it's not fair. I looked at her and then I explained that that's not what fair means, right? I think fair is one of the most misconstrued word in our dictionary, and a lot of us believe that being fair means everybody gets equal. That's not how it is. There is a very popular saying that goes, fairness does not mean everybody gets the same. It means everybody gets what they need, right? True. Now that we have established what fair means, let's talk about one of my biggest concerns as a mother, right? Which revolves around fairness. Will my kids be treated fairly by this world? As parents, we go above and beyond to take care of our children, right? But when it's time to send them out in the world, we do worry, right? Knowing the risks that come with it. To us, they're just kids, who are innocent and pure, souls. But the bigger question is, I think we often question ourselves as, will the world see that innocence like the way we do, right? And it's a valid concern. As someone who has seen rock bottom around the time my daughter was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder, I was worried sick, even imagining what the world for her would look like, from her perspective. She was 4 at that time, did not have any speech. We were in the middle of a pandemic, and I had just given birth to my son. So, needless to say, it was a very, trying time for me, and it took a lot for me to get out of that phase. Once I was able to get out of that, of that rock bottom, I began to see what charity begins at home looks like, right? I realized that my concern is valid. My anxiety is not going anywhere. But what can I do to control it, right? And I realized the biggest thing that I can do is probably go out there and talk about my struggle and talk about the struggle that these kids go through and raise as much awareness as I can, right? I also started learning at home with my family, right? I got as many resources as I can about, her condition. We tried to instill values that reflect honesty and fairness, right? Very deliberately. My daughter doesn't know that she's different, right? But she knows that if somebody is visibly different, then even after that, we treat them with the same kind of love and respect that we would do to another individual, right? 4 years after she was diagnosed and 4 years after that rock bottom, I got a call from her school. She was in second grade, and they said that they're giving her a special award for her honesty, for her kindness, and for the discipline that she shows at school.
Hmm.
And I realized that all of those conversations and all of those teachings, and as parents, I felt like I had done my job. Um, it's amazing to see all of those skills that I taught her, that she was trying to generalize in the outside environment, right? So yes, I realize that for us as parents, we have to do our part. We cannot expect the world to be fair to them unless we teach them what fairness looks like, right? Unless they become the role models, right? And have the ability to stand up for themselves, to advocate for themselves, right? Let's talk about another conversation that that is related to fairness with kids, with families like mine. Sometimes we may think that life has not been fair to us. It's 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 a very valid, human emotion that we all go through.
Yeah.
But I think more so for kids, for families with special needs kids. But the bigger question here for the society is, do we at least try to be fair to families, to these kind of families, right? It requires very little of you to understand and be aware and learn more about the struggles that these families go through. We all are going through some struggle or the other, right? It's not necessarily a family with special needs kids, but inherently these families go through a lot, right? And a little empathy for everybody goes a long way. And that's what I try. I've tried going out there, talking about it, through my storytelling sessions at work, everywhere I go. I make sure that I'm talking about this as much as I can, because even if I'm able to raise awareness with one person, it just it's my job's done, right? And that's the reason I wrote my book as well, right? Talking about the struggles, and making sure that people know that there are resources available for you to help these kids, right? You're not helpless, right? You may have the anxiety, but it doesn't mean that you're helpless. There are a lot of things that you can do, right? So my question today, right, for everybody, if you know of friends or families
Hmm.
with special needs kids, have you been fair to them, right? Ask yourselves if you have been fair to them. Have you considered the myriad of challenges that these families face? A small text, a call, a visit, or a few words of encouragement. That's all it takes, right? To see them, to make them, um, you know, seen, right, and valued. That's all it takes, right? And I can tell you, from the other side, it makes a huge difference, right? It's funny, as I was, preparing for this session, my daughter brought back a project from school last week, and it's basically I have it right here with me. It says, "My dream for the world," right? And yeah, she's still working on her handwriting, but this is what she says: "Let's spread kindness and healthiness all around the planet, and treat the earth nicely. Treat others fairly, no matter what or who they are." So I saw this last week, and I'm like, "Shani, what did you write?" And then she explained, and I asked her, "Why did you write this?" And she said, like, "That's what I want from the world, right? Like, I want everyone to be nice and everyone to be kind, and it's pure, in a sense." But it gave me a big smile. I told her, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to talk about fairness in one of my upcoming sessions." And she was like, "Oh, what a coincidence!" But yeah, it's this little joys in life that keeps me going, and I think as much as we can introspect and um, you know challenge ourselves to make this world a little better. I know there is so much going on in today's world, right? But if you can just take a moment, pause, and reflect upon what contribution we have done to make things fair for everybody, it'll make a huge difference. And we I know often people complain, right? Like, hey, this is happening and that is happening. And like, you have to ask yourself, like, what am I doing to make it better? Nobody else is going to make it better, right? We have to contribute. So yeah, I think it's very important, realization and making sure that our kids are protected, but also doing our part as parents, to make sure that they are treated fairly. I think that's very, very important.
Yeah, you mentioned about what you have gone through as a parent, what values. So it was not like, those who are listening to us, this was not a conversation. It was a story that came straight from a mother's heart about how her daughter, she's brought up her daughter, uh, understand what empathy, fairness, kindness means. And the daughter reflects those things. The project that she is working on that you showed was what that was coincidence, or maybe something that connected and made you take up this alphabet, so that make others understand that fairness is not about treating everybody like as you said in the beginning. So as a mother, you had shown your emotions, and you mentioned about your daughter also. So I think this is such a, what do you call, a short and crisp, but at the end it is a reality of what a mother goes through. Like you mentioned, not just a special kid, everybody has their own problem. So while taking up this, what I could understand the emotions that you were going through. So do you have to say something to parents, that what, anything more that you would like to tell to the parents, when you talked about your.
Um, One thing that I often tell everybody I meet, right, is that I know we consciously teach a lot, right? That's one of our that comes with the job description, right? But kids do learn a lot subconsciously, right? It's not just what you are doing actively, right? It's also the things that you do, how you treat your partner, how you're treating your friends, the language that you're using, how you're treating their teachers, right? How you're interacting with your parents, all of that stuff. I think that goes, like, they see it, it's part of their ecosystem, right?
Yeah.
So apart from teaching the kids to be role models, I think the onus also falls on us, as their parents, to behave a certain way, to make sure that they are seeing what you are expecting out of the world. I always say, what, before I expect the world to be kind to them, I have to be kind to them. I have to be kind to myself, right? So they see all of that stuff. So it's very important for us as parents to make sure that we are giving them the right environment and we're giving them the right kind of values through us. It's not what they learn at school or what we are teaching them during their study time, right? Life is a learning, and we all know that as adults, right? It's very important to, as I say, like, parenting has been one of the toughest, jobs I have had, because there is so much responsibility involved, and it's not like, oh, I'll parent now and then I'll stop parenting now. No, parenting, once you're a parent, you're always a parent, right? So and they keep learning, by observing you. So
Yeah.
it's very important to, set higher expectations of yours from yourself, and make sure they're getting the best values out of the interaction they have with the family.
Fairness in all, by all means, is what the story is about. A real story of a mother who has shared her story. And let me read out few comments that have come up. Urimama says she's been watching this and she's very appreciative of the experiences that you have shared so sweetly about your daughter. And Sushma is thanking you for sharing your life experience, and lots of blessings to your daughter. And she's proud of you and your daughter. And yeah, sweet thought, dear Mama. Lots of blessings, Meghali, for sharing this story. And you can see, when I am, what do you call it? The, it's like I'm trying to find words to ask more or know more about. But yes, what you said is right. You have to be fair in all sense. And between, I know it's early morning there and freezing temperature over there, and yet you chose this, and it's an anecdote that anybody can connect with, any parent can connect with. So, yeah, thank you so much for joining us and taking up this cause, because you, as you said, instead of sitting and blaming, what we have done, right? We have to do. And those who experience only can understand what they are going through, and how uh, many of them go through so many things. That's what Purnima Amma also says. But many times they hesitate to tell others that this
Yes.
is the solution for this. I have gone through that. At that hesitation, you have, I think, your story will give some hope to those parents, to speak up now and at least take help. It's okay to speak about your life and take help also. So, yeah, once again, thank you so much for joining all the way from Chicago and giving us your time's precious time, and also being so inspiring to other parents to accept and be fair in all sense to themselves, right?
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you so much. I love working with, Spectrum Awareness Project, and love the work that you are doing. And I would, like, it's just, I would have made time for this
Yes,
anytime. I know it's
yes.
difficult with the schedules and with the time
Yeah,
difference,
the time
but,
zone.
with,
Yeah,
we make it work. We
I know
make it
it's
work.
very
When we
early.
want it, we can make it work.
Yeah, it's very
Yes.
early morning for you. And if that's what all our audience who are watching also, they are so appreciative of the way you have come up with your story. Thank you so much. So, to our audience, uh, yes, think about what Meghali shared, and let's all be fair in all sense. So next time, next Tuesday, we have story time with Rashmi coming up with the next alphabet. So stay tuned for more inclusive stories, more inspiring stories, more real life stories that we connect with. So it's happy evening and good morning to Meghali from all of
Thank
us.
you. Thank you so much.